As we approach the end of yet another year, it is worth asking ourselves, how do we spend our time? The days rush by like a river, swift and unrelenting, each one disappearing into the next without leaving a trace. Yet, there are moments, particularly in December, when the flow seems to slow, when the world feels just a little quieter, a little more reflective. It is in these moments that we have a unique opportunity to listen. We often think of listening as a passive act, hearing words, nodding in agreement, or perhaps acknowledging the noise around us. But true listening, the kind that shapes our lives and makes us more attuned to the world, is an active engagement. It requires attention, stillness, and a willingness to hear what is not always obvious, what is often overlooked. In this month of December, when the year's activities draw to a close and the days grow shorter, we are offered a rare chance to listen more deeply, to listen to the stillness within and without. We listen, first and foremost, to the passage of time. In the rush to complete tasks, to finish what we began months ago, we forget that time is always moving forward, never returning. December then becomes a time to reflect on how we have spent the precious hours given to us. But we must also listen to something more profound, something beyond the ticking of the clock. We must listen to our own hearts and minds. In the clamor of modern life, we seldom stop to hear what our inner voices are saying. Our desires, our fears, our hopes, and our regrets are often drowned out by the noise of our daily responsibilities. December, with its reflective nature, calls us to sit in quietude and hear what our deeper selves are yearning to express. In this month, we are reminded to listen to others, not just in the superficial sense of hearing their words, but in the truer sense of understanding their hearts. December, with its traditions and celebrations, brings us into contact with those we may not have seen in some time. These interactions are not merely social obligations, they are opportunities to hear and understand the stories of others, stories that may reveal the struggles and joys of their own journeys. And perhaps most importantly, December invites us to listen to the world beyond ourselves. The season's stillness can open our ears to the wisdom that nature offers, the rustling of the winter wind, the quiet of the snow, the faint sounds of life carrying on, unnoticed by a world rushing toward its next destination. There is much to be learned from listening to the world's simple truths, truths that speak not in words, but in the quiet rhythm of existence itself. The passage of time is an abstract concept, one that often escapes our full understanding in the whirl of daily life. Each day passes, blending into the next, marked only by the ticking of the clock or the change of the calendar. Yet, if we take a moment to truly reflect, we realize that time is not just a linear progression, it is a precious and finite resource. Every second, every minute that slips by is one we will never retrieve. This understanding of time is particularly heightened during December, a month when the year's end approaches and the cycle of the seasons brings a natural pause, inviting us to reflect on the year that was and prepare for the year that will be. The modern world, with its constant hustle, often obscures this awareness. We are trained to think of time as something to be managed, to be filled with tasks, achievements, and progress. The value of time is often measured by productivity and efficiency, making it easy to lose sight of the more meaningful ways we could engage with it. Yet, as the year draws to a close, December presents a unique opportunity to reconsider how we have spent our time and how we might choose to spend it in the future. The quiet, reflective nature of the month invites us to slow down, to step back from the constant demands of life, and to recognize that time itself is a gift. One of the most profound aspects of time is its passage. We experience time not as a static entity, but as a dynamic force, ever moving, unyielding. This movement is constant, but often unnoticed. When we are caught up in the daily grind, time seems to slip through our fingers without us realizing it. The weeks turn into months, and the months into years, and before we know it, we look back with a sense of bewilderment, asking ourselves, where did it all go? The days seem long, but the years are short, as the saying goes. This paradox is what makes time so precious and so difficult to grasp. The older we grow, the more we become aware of time's elusiveness. It is something that waits for no one, something that cannot be reversed or slowed down. December, as the final month of the year, forces us to confront this truth in a way that no other time does. In December, the change in the natural world is also a reminder of time's passage. The days grow shorter, the cold deepens, and the earth prepares itself for rest before the renewal of spring. There is a sense of endings in the air. The year is drawing to a close, and with it, many of the plans, hopes, and expectations we set at the start. December invites us to reflect on what we have accomplished and what remains undone. It offers a moment of pause, a chance to evaluate how we have used the time allotted to us. For those who are attuned to it, this pause can be both humbling and enlightening. The awareness of time's passage encourages us to ask whether we have used our time wisely, whether we have spent it on what truly matters, and whether we are living in a way that aligns with our values and goals. There is also an important lesson to be found in the understanding of time's passage. While it may be tempting to focus solely on what is unfinished or undone, December also invites us to look back with gratitude. For time, as it passes, leaves behind memories, experiences, and lessons. It is in reflecting on the past that we begin to understand how much we have grown, how much we have learned, and how much we have yet to discover. The awareness of time's fleeting nature does not need to be a source of anxiety or regret, but rather a call to appreciate the present moment and the opportunities it brings. In our reflection, we must also consider the future. Time stretches before us like an open road, and December gives us a natural occasion to set our sights on what lies ahead. What goals do we want to pursue in the coming year? What changes do we wish to make in how we spend our time? The passage of time is not just about looking backward, but also about moving forward with intention and purpose. December, in all its reflective quietude, offers a chance to reset our focus, to plan for the future with the wisdom we have gained from the past. It allows us to consider how we will spend our time in the coming months, whether we will continue on the same path or take a different direction. The key to understanding time's value is not merely in acknowledging its passage, but in using our time in a way that is purposeful and meaningful. Time is not something to be squandered or taken for granted, for it is always slipping away. Yet, in December, we have the chance to make the most of it. We have the opportunity to listen to the quiet whispers of time, to reflect on its fleeting nature, and to appreciate the moments we have. Time may be passing, but in its passing it offers us the gift of awareness, the gift of reflection, and the gift of new beginnings. As the year ends and a new one begins, let us embrace the time we have, not as a burden, but as a blessing, one that is constantly renewing, always moving forward, and forever giving us the chance to begin again. True listening is an art that is often undervalued and misunderstood in today's fast-paced world. In a society where multitasking is the norm and constant communication is expected, the act of truly listening can seem like a rarity. Listening is not just about hearing sounds or processing words. It is a deeper, more intentional engagement with what is being communicated. It requires attention, focus, and a willingness to understand not only what is said, but also what remains unsaid, the emotions, the intent, and the underlying truths that words alone cannot express. The essence of listening goes beyond the mere act of hearing. It involves being fully present in the moment, which is increasingly difficult in our distraction-filled environment. To begin, we must acknowledge that listening is an active practice. Most people believe that listening is simply passive, a process of absorbing sounds, but this is a misconception. True listening requires conscious effort. It requires setting aside personal distractions and preoccupations and fully attending to the other person. In conversations, this means giving the speaker undivided attention, looking beyond the surface level of their words to truly understand their message. In our modern world, we often find ourselves distracted by technology, our minds constantly jumping between tasks. In these moments, true listening becomes even more challenging. It is easy to nod along while checking our phones or to half listen, waiting for a chance to speak rather than absorbing what the other person is saying. But in these moments, we lose out on the depth of connection that listening can bring. Listening involves more than just words. It requires us to read between the lines. Often what is said is not the whole story. People communicate their feelings, experiences, and thoughts not just through language, but through tone, body language, and silence. To listen deeply, we must be attuned to these subtler cues. This is especially important in emotional or difficult conversations, where the words might mask underlying pain, joy, or fear. When someone speaks, their words often carry layers of meaning that are not immediately apparent. It is in the silences, the pauses, and the subtle shifts in voice or expression that we begin to uncover the fuller message. Listening, then, is not just an auditory experience, but a complex, multifaceted process that demands our full awareness. Listening requires empathy and ability to put ourselves in another's shoes and understand their perspective. When we listen, we must do so without judgment, without jumping to conclusions or making assumptions. It is easy to listen with the intention of finding fault or offering advice, but this limits the true depth of listening. To truly hear someone, we must suspend our own beliefs, judgments, and opinions. We must make space for the other person's feelings, thoughts, and experiences to unfold. Empathy in listening allows us to see the world through another's eyes, to experience their emotions, and to understand their reality, even if it differs from our own. This creates a powerful connection between individuals, fostering understanding and trust. Without empathy, listening becomes a transactional exchange rather than a meaningful interaction. Listening also requires patience. In a world where instant communication is the norm and efficiency is valued above all else, it is easy to fall into the trap of rushing through conversations, anxious to get to the point or move on to the next task. However, meaningful listening is not rushed. It takes time to understand the depth of what someone is saying, to reflect on their words, and to process their meaning. Listening with patience allows for a deeper exchange, where both parties feel heard and understood. It also creates space for reflection and contemplation. Sometimes the most important insights come not from a rapid-fire conversation, but from moments of silence, where the speaker is given time to gather their thoughts or where the listener can process what has been said. To listening to others, it is equally important to listen to ourselves. In the midst of daily distractions, we often neglect to hear our own thoughts, desires, and feelings. True self-awareness is achieved when we take the time to listen to our inner voices. These internal cues guide us toward understanding our needs, recognizing our emotional states, and making decisions that align with our values. Listening to ourselves involves quieting the external noise and creating space for reflection. It means being in tune with our emotions, acknowledging our struggles, and paying attention to the deeper thoughts that often go unnoticed. Without listening to ourselves, we risk living on autopilot, reacting to the world around us without any real awareness of our own inner world. The importance of listening extends beyond personal interactions. It is equally vital in our relationship with the world around us. In nature, in the arts, in the moments of silence we encounter, there is much to listen to. The world communicates with us not just through spoken language, but through the rhythm of life, the changing seasons, and the beauty of creation. In a society that prizes efficiency and productivity, we often overlook these quieter forms of communication. Yet, if we take the time to listen to the world in a deeper sense, we may find wisdom, peace, and inspiration that elude us in the noise of everyday life. Whether it is the sound of birds in the morning, the rustling of leaves in the wind, or the quiet hum of life continuing around us, these moments carry messages that are easily missed if we are not paying attention. Listening is an essential tool for connection both with others and with ourselves. It is the foundation of meaningful relationships, the key to empathy, and a pathway to understanding the world more fully. To listen is to open ourselves to the richness of the human experience, to engage in the flow of life, and to deepen our connection with the world around us. It is a practice that requires patience, attention, and empathy, but the rewards are immeasurable. In a world filled with noise, those who choose to listen are able to hear the deeper truths that lie just beneath the surface, fostering connections that transcend words and creating a richer, more harmonious existence. The month of December, with its quiet, reflective nature, provides a unique opportunity to connect with spiritual awareness both inwardly and outwardly. In many cultures, December is a time of celebration, of renewal, and of deep introspection. It is a month that marks the end of one cycle and the beginning of another, making it the perfect time to attune ourselves to the deeper spiritual dimensions of life. It is a time to listen to the quieter, often overlooked aspects of our being, to acknowledge the spiritual currents that run beneath the surface of everyday life. Spiritual awareness is the practice of attuning ourselves to the higher, intangible aspects of existence. It is not merely about religious observance or ritual, though those can certainly play a role. It is about connecting with the essence of what lies beyond the physical world. In December, this awareness can be heightened as we reflect on the past year and prepare for the future. The stillness and simplicity of winter invite a turning inward, a time to ask deeper questions about our lives, our purpose, and our relationship with the world and the divine. The year's end offers a natural pause, an opportunity to reflect on how we have lived, what we have learned, and how we might approach the coming year with greater intentionality and spiritual mindfulness. During December, there is an inherent spiritual invitation in the rhythms of nature. The winter season, with its quieter days and longer nights, offers a space for contemplation and inner reflection. The cold and stillness that accompany winter often prompt a retreat into warmth and shelter, a return to the heart of the home and family. This retreat can be viewed as a symbolic act, a return to the spiritual hearth, a place of inner warmth and connection. Just as nature rests in preparation for renewal in spring, we too are called to pause, reflect, and prepare ourselves spiritually for the renewal that the new year might bring. December is a reminder that, like the earth, we too need periods of rest and reflection to nourish our spiritual growth and clarity. There is a profound spiritual significance in taking time to listen to what the world is telling us during December. While the month is often filled with the hustle of preparing for holidays and festivities, there are moments in which we can listen more intently to the deeper meanings behind these celebrations. Many spiritual traditions place importance on the themes of peace, love, and hope during this time. December invites us to engage with these values not only in the context of the external world but also within ourselves. As we engage in acts of service, give gifts, and spend time with loved ones, we are reminded of the importance of connecting with others on a deeper, more compassionate level. These acts are spiritual practices in themselves, reminding us of our shared humanity and the importance of community, kindness, and generosity. December encourages us to reflect on the broader spiritual themes of the year and the cyclical nature of time. The passage of time is a key element in many spiritual traditions. The turning of the year, the movement from one season to another, reminds us that life is not static but ever-changing. December serves as a natural moment of reflection and introspection, a time to look back on the experiences, lessons, and growth we have encountered. By doing so, we not only acknowledge the ways in which we have evolved, but also embrace the idea that life is a continuous journey. Every season, every year, every moment offers us opportunities for spiritual growth and awakening. To the outward expressions of spirituality, December also calls for an inward spiritual awareness. This month can be a time for soul-searching, for listening to the deeper stirrings of our hearts. Amid the busyness of life, it is easy to neglect our inner lives. Our thoughts, emotions, and desires often go unnoticed or unexamined. December, with its quiet nature, provides an invitation to look inward, to assess our spiritual well-being, and to connect with our deeper self. This inward listening may take the form of meditation, prayer, or journaling, or simply sitting in quiet contemplation. In these moments of stillness, we become more attuned to the spiritual whispers that guide us, offering insight into our purpose, our values, and our true nature. The practices of spiritual awareness during December are not only about personal growth, but also about cultivating a sense of gratitude and wonder. In the midst of the holiday season, it can be easy to become overwhelmed by material concerns or the pressures of gift-giving. But the true spiritual meaning of this time is found in the ability to appreciate the simple blessings of life. Gratitude is a cornerstone of many spiritual teachings, and December offers ample opportunities to practice it. Whether it is through acknowledging the beauty of the winter season, appreciating the love and support of friends and family, or reflecting on the lessons learned over the past year, cultivating gratitude brings us into alignment with the deeper spiritual currents of life. At a deeper level, spiritual awareness involves recognizing that we are part of something larger than ourselves. This month, with its focus on reflection, renewal, and connection, reminds us that we are not isolated beings but interconnected with the world, with nature, and with others. The act of listening, whether to our own inner voices, to others, or to the rhythms of nature, teaches us that we are part of a greater whole. December provides an opportunity to reconnect with this sense of unity and interconnectedness, allowing us to feel more grounded in the spiritual truths that bind us all. Spiritual awareness calls us to recognize the divine presence in all things. Whether through the stillness of the winter night, the joy of spending time with loved ones, or the quiet moments of reflection, we are invited to see the divine in the everyday. December, with its quiet beauty, is a reminder that spirituality is not confined to grand rituals or sacred spaces. It is woven into the fabric of our daily lives. By listening attentively to the spiritual currents that flow through the world and within us, we can deepen our connection to the divine and live more fully in accordance with our spiritual values. The call to action in December, to embrace the practice of listening each day, is an invitation to transform the way we engage with time, people, and the world around us. It challenges us to be more intentional, more aware, and more present in our daily lives. This act of listening is not merely a passive experience. It requires conscious effort, discipline, and a commitment to change. The power of listening lies in its ability to shift our perspective and to deepen our connection to the world, both internally and externally. By making listening a daily practice in December, we can cultivate a deeper awareness that enriches our interactions, enhances our sense of purpose, and ultimately leads to personal growth. To begin with, making listening a daily practice encourages us to slow down and be more present. In our fast-paced world, we often rush through life, consumed by tasks, to-do lists, and responsibilities. This constant forward motion leaves little room for genuine engagement with the present moment. However, when we commit to listening each day, we actively choose to pause, to take a step back from the busyness of life, and to be fully engaged in the moment. This practice requires that we tune out the distractions and focus our attention on what is happening right now, whether it is a conversation, a moment of quiet reflection, or the subtle sounds of nature. Slowing this act of genuine listening communicates respect and empathy, allowing the speaker to feel heard and understood. The quality of our relationships is directly influenced by how well we listen to others. When we make listening a priority, we strengthen our bonds with those around us, creating deeper, more meaningful connections that are rooted in trust and understanding. To its impact on our relationships, daily listening enhances our own self-awareness. In a world filled with noise, it is easy to lose touch with our inner thoughts and emotions. We become so focused on external demands that we neglect our internal landscape. Listening to ourselves each day allows us to reconnect with our feelings, desires, and needs. It provides an opportunity to check in with our emotions, to recognize how we are truly feeling, and to identify areas of our lives that may need attention or change. By making space for this type of listening, we gain clarity and insight into our own motivations and values, which can help guide our decisions and actions in a more authentic and intentional way. The daily practice of listening also encourages mindfulness, an essential component of spiritual and emotional well-being. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. It is the act of observing life as it unfolds rather than reacting or getting caught up in it. Listening is an integral part of mindfulness because it requires us to be present and to pay attention. Whether we are listening to the sounds of nature, the words of a loved one, or the quiet whispers of our own hearts, listening cultivates an attitude of mindfulness that helps us engage more deeply with the world. By practicing listening each day, we develop a greater capacity for mindfulness, which in turn enhances our ability to live in the moment and experience life more fully. To improving our relationships and fostering mindfulness, listening daily encourages us to be more receptive to the wisdom that surrounds us. Often we are so focused on our own thoughts and concerns that we fail to notice the messages that the world is offering us. Whether it is the lessons we can learn from others, the wisdom of nature, or the insights we gain from our own experiences, the world is constantly communicating with us. When we commit to listening, we open ourselves to these messages, allowing us to learn and grow. Each day provides us with new opportunities to listen to the stories of others, to the rhythms of nature, and to the deeper truths within ourselves. By actively listening, we can cultivate a greater sense of awareness and insight that informs our decisions and enriches our lives. Making listening a daily practice helps us to cultivate patience and humility. In a world that often values quick answers and immediate results, listening requires us to slow down and embrace the uncertainty of not knowing. It requires us to resist the urge to immediately respond or fix things, allowing space for reflection and understanding. This process can be humbling, as it forces us to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers and that we can learn from others. It also teaches us patience, as listening requires us to wait, to sit in silence, and to allow the other person or the moment to unfold. Through this daily practice, we develop greater emotional maturity and resilience as we learn to navigate life with a sense of openness and receptivity. In a broader sense, Listening every day also deepens our connection to the larger rhythms of life. The world is constantly changing, and each day offers us new opportunities to engage with it. Whether we are listening to the news, observing the seasons, or paying attention to the evolving dynamics in our communities, daily listening helps us stay attuned to the world around us. It allows us to adapt to the changes that are occurring in our lives and in the world, providing us with the awareness we need to make informed decisions and respond thoughtfully to challenges. In this sense, daily listening is not only a personal practice but a communal one, as it enables us to be more aware of the needs and experiences of others, fostering empathy and understanding. The call to listen every day of December is not simply about improving ourselves, it is about transforming the way we interact with the world. Listening deeply and intentionally enhances our capacity to engage with life in a meaningful way, whether that means listening to our own inner voice, to others, or to the world at large. Each act of listening becomes an opportunity for growth, connection, and renewal. By making this commitment, we create space for transformation both within ourselves and in the world around us. December, with its reflective qualities, is the perfect time to begin this practice, to cultivate the art of listening, and to carry it forward into the coming year with renewed awareness and intention.